What's happening, guys? So this video is meant to help people who have never done a powerlifting meet before and they're not really sure what all to bring and they kind of need like a kind of a checklist to get things going. That's kind of the point of this video. I want to kind of give you some ideas of what you should bring to your powerlifting meet to help you have a more successful day, hopefully. Now, first things first, depending on what federation you compete in, you probably are going to need IPF Approved Gear. And I'm not talking about gear as in geared lifting, I'm just talking about your raw lifting, your things like knee sleeves, singlet, wrist wraps, and belt. Those four things all need to be IPF approved. And now, while you don't have to have all those things, you do have to have a singlet. A singlet is the one mandatory thing that needs to be IPF approved that you have to bring. You cannot compete if you don't have a singlet. Now, the other thing is, while not 100% necessary, I do highly recommend you have all three of them. At a minimum, the belt, and then the knee sleeves, and then the wrist strap, probably in that order, I would say, in terms of order of importance. But you don't have to have them, but they're going to aid you and they're going to help you perform better. As for a singlet, I have the Strength Shop singlet, and it's really not the best singlet, I'll be perfectly honest. It was the cheapest one I could find, and I've only worn it a handful of times. It's already fallen apart a little bit, but it does the job and it does the trick okay. So if you're on a budget, then it'll do the trick, but otherwise I'd recommend going with something a little better quality. I've heard the Titan one's really nice, but never tried it myself. As for wrist straps, I have the Gangster wraps and I absolutely love them. I highly recommend them. If you're looking for a good pair of wrist straps, I definitely would recommend those. And then my belt is also a Strength Shop, and same type of thing. It was budget friendly. I think it was $50 for a lever belt, so you really can't beat that, but it's not the most solid material. It's a little bit flimsy as well, but it does a trick. But if you have extra money that you're willing to spend, I would definitely invest in something better like an Inzer or something else that's a little bit more stable. But if you need to watch the funds like I do, then the Strength Shop will do the trick. Now, for knee sleeves, I have these Spd Knee Sleeves and I absolutely love them. They are extremely pricey. They're probably the most expensive knee sleeves out there, but they are worth every last penny. And quite honestly, if you're kind of debating between cheaper knee sleeves and cheaper wrist straps, I would say forgo the wrist straps and just get the Spds. It'd be about the same price because they are well worth it. There is a reason you see all the power lifters out there wearing Spds nowadays. Now, a couple things you might not think about. You need to have a 100% cotton plain t-shirt. It cannot have any logos or anything on it unless it's IPF approved. It needs to be plain. And you also need to have cotton briefs. And I'm talking about whitey tighties here. I'm not talking about boxer briefs or anything else. You can't wear boxers, you can't wear boxer briefs. They have to be regular briefs. Now, they don't have to necessarily be white, but they got to be cotton briefs. The other required item is knee-high socks. You need knee-high socks for your deadlifting. Now, they don't have to come all the way up to knee, but they need to go mostly up, protect your shins. I don't know why it's a must, but it is a must, need to have it, and you might as well protect your shins anyway, so make sure you bring knee-high socks. You obviously will want to bring your shoes along. You'll want the shoes that you're going to squat and bench in. You're going to want the shoes that you're going to deadlift in. These may be the same, they may not be. I really like my Powerlift 2.0s for my squatting and my benching. I love them, love them, love them, and I would highly recommend them, and they're not that expensive. And then as for deadlifts, I use Chucks, not the greatest thing in the world to do the trick, nice flat sole. So there's probably better options out there, but that's what I have right now. I got them for cheap, so that's what I use, but you got to bring something. Another thing that's often forget with people is baby powder. You want to bring baby powder for your deadlifts so the bar doesn't grip on your skin and you have a nice smooth lift. You'd hate to miss a lift because your bar gets caught on your skin. That would be terrible. So bring baby powder and chalk. They're going to have chalk there, almost 100% guaranteed. They're going to have plenty of chalk, but I still recommend bringing chalk anyway for your warm-ups and everything else, and that way it's there so you don't have to worry about it. You're also going to want to bring all your warm-up stuff that you normally warm up with. If you have any mobility tools, if you're bringing a foam roller or a mobility band or a lacrosse ball, anything that you normally get ready with to get loose, bring that stuff along because you're going to want to use it. And then kind of lastly, in terms of actual items, I would say headphones. If you like to get kind of in the zone between lifts, you're going to want to bring an Ipod or something with headphones so you can listen to music. You don't have to, but it might help you out. In terms of foods and drinks, you're going to want to bring plenty of stuff for recovery. You want to make sure you're well hydrated. The absolute last thing you want on the platform is to be dehydrated. So bring a lot of water. Bring about 2 times as much water as you think you actually need. Then like Gatorades and BCAAs and anything you take for a pre-workout, all that type of stuff, anything you would normally use, make sure you bring that along and make sure you have plenty of it because you don't want to run out. You're going to pee a lot, but it's worth it. As for foods, you want a lot of quick, easy sources of carbs and protein, whether it be whey protein, whether it be Powerbars, Pop-Tarts, whatever it is. Make sure you bring plenty of that stuff so you can kind of keep the nutrients going, and make sure it's fairly similar to what you would normally eat in a usual day. Do not go out and get something as a treat just because you're powerlifting, because the last thing you want to do is give your body something it's not used to eating, and then all of a sudden you're crapping yourself in the middle of the meet. That's not a situation anybody wants. These meets usually last pretty long, and depending on how big the meet is, it could be an all-day event. So you want to make sure you also bring something else like a sandwich or something a little bit bigger to eat for lunch. You don't have to, but it might be a good idea if it's going to be a long day. You're going to want something better to eat than just Pop-Tarts and protein bars. Then lastly, you're going to want to bring a change of clothes, some extra socks, and I also forgot to mention in the beginning, do not wear your singlet and everything to the meet, because you're going to get there, they're going to have to check everything anyway, you're going to have to do your weigh-in, and it will just be a pain in the butt if you got it on. So just wear your normal clothes to the meet, change into your singlet at the meet, and then just have some extra clothes, probably some deodorant, because you're probably going to want to go out with your buddies or whatever afterwards, and you're going to smell really bad, so that's not a bad idea to do that as well, but make sure you bring a change of clothes. The only last thing I want to say is make sure you have this list and that you go through it the day before and not the morning of, because the morning of it's going to be hectic, you're going to be pushed for time, you're going to be nervous, you're not going to be in the right frame of mind, and you're not going to want to have to scramble around and do all this stuff. So make sure it's all packed and all ready so you can just grab it and go in the morning and not have to deal with it. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I will post in the description below a list of the things that I recommended from this video, so you can grab it and copy it and paste it into something if you want to try to keep it. But if you have any questions, please let me know and I will get back to you. Otherwise, see you in the next video.